But from all of this really cool stuff, all of these people making this interesting internet lore, unfortunately came this, a terrible accusation. All right, so check it out. Okay. On May 31st, 2014, two girls, Morgan Geyser and Anissa Wire, both 12 at the time, allegedly brought an 11-year-old classmate to the woods behind Geyser's home in Waukesha, Wisconsin. The two girls then allegedly stabbed their classmate 19 times in what investigators described as a sacrifice intended to please Slenderman, which they had discovered on a horror story website. One of the girls reportedly told a detective they were trying to become proxies for Slenderman. Yeah, you might not know what proxies are. That's a whole part of the Slenderman lore. When Slenderman takes people, he turns them into like ghosts that do his bidding. These kids saw this video and decided they wanted to stab their classmate to become proxies for Slenderman. Thankfully, the victim survived. The victim, who was left for dead, managed to crawl to a bike path where she was saved by a bicyclist. Of the 19 stab wounds, 2 hit major organs, while 1 wound missed a major artery by less than a millimeter. She spent 6 days in the hospital. On a massive manhunt, the alleged attackers were apprehended close to Interstate 94. An officer found a knife believed to have been used in the stabbing in one of the girls' bags. HBO's Beware of Slenderman. HBO started an entire documentary based on the case. The alleged attack was premeditated, according to Beware of the Slenderman. That's the HBO documentary. The two girls planned the attacks for months. Geyser temporarily ruled incompetent in trial, so this is one of the young ladies that did the stabbing. On August 2004, Geyser was ruled incompetent to stand trial after being diagnosed with childhood onset schizophrenia. Then on December 14th, the pair were ruled competent to stand trial. The two suspects have pleaded not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. Got a burp. Geyser's diagnosis reportedly stemmed from her belief that she has mind control powers. She also indicated that she speaks with fictional characters, including Voldemort from the Harry Potter series. After 2 years of legal battles, the Wisconsin Appeals Court ruled that Geyser and Wire would be tried as adults based in part on signs that the crime was premeditated. Prosecutors said Geyser and Wire apparently believed that if they sacrificed someone to the Slenderman, that the characters would spare the girls' families' lives and invite the pair to live in his Slenderman mansion. Here's some interrogation footage. Beware the Slenderman shows a portion of the interrogation. Girls could have faced up to 45 years in prison. On September 2014, a 17-year-old girl allegedly set her house on fire in what might have been a Slenderman-related incident. She told ABC News she had visited the website that contains a lot of the Slenderman information and stories. It would be safe to say there is a connection to that. And then an Ohio teen attacks their mom based off Slenderman. So these kids are just going batshit crazy, yeah. 2014, all in the same year, too. Mom was allegedly attacked in her kitchen by her 13-year-old daughter. The mom, who declined to identify herself, told Cincinnati News, "We found things that she had written and made reference to Slenderman." Marble Hornets, we already went over that, popular YouTube page. So there you have it, multiple instances. And I think this over here, they don't go into whether or not, I don't actually know what happened to these two young girls. I mean, the two young girls were sentenced to 20 and 40 years in a psychiatry ward. Oof. That's brutal. 40 years. I mean, not as brutal as getting stabbed 19 times, right? When you're only 12 years old. That's pretty horrifying. But that's pretty crazy, right? So Slenderman, as you can see, had a pretty big, influence on a whole lot more just outside of media. If you thought it was crazy that Jeff the Killer had his girlfans, Slenderman has his own girl fans. They're a bunch of 12-year-olds that will stab the shit out of you, apparently. So